Okay. So I'll begin presenting, sharing my screen. So good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Katie Lynch, and I'm the chair of the Sam Draper Honors Program at Rockland Community College. Thank you so much for joining us for our second virtual information session. We had one in the fall 2020 semester, and we are, of course, having one now. This session is being recorded, and what that means is that you'll have an opportunity to receive a link to the recording. We are going to ask you to fill out a quick survey near the end of our program, which will allow your email address to be captured so that we can then go ahead and ask you and follow up with you so that we can make sure that we're connecting with you after this session tonight. So I want to begin by just telling you a little bit of a story about the picture you're seeing in front of your screen. You're seeing in the center there, the guy with the beard is Dr. Jeff McLean. He's one of RCC's biology professors. And Dr. McLean was mentoring, and he continues to do this, mentoring some students in a bacteriophage research project. And those students were doing some independent research. They were learning all kinds of laboratory methods. And I want to talk specifically about the student at the front who is wearing glasses. Her name is Jasmine Dew. Jasmine is an early admit student at Rockland Community College. She graduated several years ago. An early admit student is a student who is a senior in high school and also working through their first year of college simultaneously. And what Jasmine did was she decided to stay to get her associate degree. And then she applied to many places, including Johns Hopkins University, one of the best places to go for pre-medical work. And she ended up getting into Johns Hopkins. She graduated a few years ago, and now she is working on graduate school applications. I just heard from her this past week. So I wanted to open with that story to give you a taste of what is possible. And I'll be sharing other stories throughout our session tonight. Here's our agenda for this evening. So obviously I have welcomed you. We're going to talk a little bit about the program history and the mission of the honors program, its structure. We'll talk about our study abroad program, the wonderful program we're able to offer when COVID is not on. Unfortunately, it cannot happen while COVID is happening, but we look forward to being able to offer it again in the future. We'll talk about student outcomes, meaning where have our students gone from here? RCC has a saying, start here, go anywhere, and it's really true, especially for our honors students. We'll talk a little bit about transferring and scholarship specifically, because of course, whenever you're looking to progress your education, the cost is always a factor. We'll talk about how to apply to honors and the different kinds of applications that we have and the different processes depending on who you are and what your status is. Then we're going to hear from a whole bunch of wonderful people. We will hear from the faculty mentors in the honors program. We'll hear from some alumni, and we'll hear from some current students. Those are the rock stars. You're going to want to hear their voices. Our alumni and our students are just extraordinary. And then, of course, you will have an open question and answer session, but you are welcome to put your questions in the chat if you wish at any point this evening. I have some of my colleagues monitoring the chat, and they'll be working hard to answer your questions. If they cannot answer your question in the moment, then they will hold it and ask it, or you may ask it in our Q&A session, okay? So first of all, let's talk about the history and the mission, just so that you have some context. This program is over 40 years old. It was founded in 1977 by an English professor at RCC, and he realized that he was working with a lot of wonderful students who, with a little bit of mentorship and some extra strong coursework, would be competitive at the most elite four-year institutions. And so he founded the program on that pillar, that cornerstone of mentoring. The program has a liberal arts emphasis. We currently have 3 tracks within degrees: a business track, a math and science track, and a humanities and social science track, but all 3 of those tracks are taught using the liberal arts kind of model. So you're getting a lot of different kinds of coursework while you're specializing in one area. We do also have a math track that's specific for honor students who are interested in more math heavy fields, such as physics, computer science, mathematics, engineering, etc. Our model is high challenge, high support. What that means is that the coursework is very challenging indeed. It is modeled on the coursework at the first 2 years of elite tier 1 institutions, but we are also going to support you every step of the way. We have a wonderful core staff, and you'll meet many of those people this evening, including our assistant coordinator and our support staff. We also have a cadre of faculty mentors who do a wonderful job of supporting their mentees. And of course, RCC has many support options as well for all students at the college. So we're going to challenge you, but we're also going to connect you with support services. Our classes are writing and research intensive because we know those skills are deeply important, especially if you are planning to continue at a high caliber institution. I've mentioned that importance of mentoring that we've talked about earlier, and we'll continue to address that throughout this evening. And one real feature of our program is that we have a required applied learning course. Students can either study abroad, they can do an internship, or they can do a research project. And usually that's done through a course in the science, in the biology field. Those opportunities distinguish our students in the application process. So when you are getting ready to apply to transfer after your 2 years at RCC, having done an internship or research or study abroad really helps you distinguish yourself in that process. Just a quick reminder, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. If you wouldn't mind checking to see if you're muted, that will really help. Thanks very much. We do have a strong track record of helping students transfer to tier 1 institutions, including the Ivy League. So we have a very low cost option. RCC's price tag really can't be beat. So sorry about that. Apologies for that interruption. As I was mentioning, RCC is a very inexpensive option. We cannot beat the price tag for this particular college. So you can save over $100,000 by attending RCC and then transferring elsewhere, and even more than that. So let's move forward to the structure of the program. First of all, as I mentioned, we have 3 honors tracks, and many students pursue a 4th track, the mathematics track. The requirements to complete what's called honors designation are that you complete a minimum of 8 honors courses within your degree, an internship, research experience, or study abroad program, as I mentioned. You maintain a 3.5 GPA or higher. You attend a transfer seminar before you apply to four-year institutions, and that helps everybody have baseline knowledge of the transfer process, which can be quite stressful. And then you also become involved in the RCC community. We really want our honor students to get deeply involved. They are often the presidents of clubs. They are really interested in becoming SGA members. It's really wonderful to see their participation in the community. So we really love how our honor students get deeply involved. In terms of some of our features, the Cambridge Study Abroad program is one of the most exciting parts of being an honor student. And unfortunately, we've had to cancel that program for the past 2 years, for 2020 and 2021, because of COVID. But we look forward to offering the program again in 2022. And here is how it works. You take a 2-week course through Cambridge University's continuing education program. And when you take that course, those courses, you will then be able to, you will then be able to work on a research paper related to a topic that is covered by one of those courses. And you're mentored throughout that process by an RCC honors faculty member. So the way that it works is that you go off to Cambridge, you study there for 2 weeks, you take 4 courses, you have a lot of fun, you don't actually do a lot of work while you're there, and then you come home and you work on that research paper, and then you are mentored by that faculty member throughout the process. For this, you get 4 academic credits, and the course counts as one of the 8 honors classes that are required by the program. So it's really a wonderful opportunity. And, I didn't believe at first that this would be something life-changing, only spending 2 weeks in England. I was a little skeptical when I took over management of the program, but the students convinced me. So when students first went off to Cambridge, the first time that I ever saw them come home, they told me just how much this had expanded their horizons. They talked about meeting people from all different places in the world, all different countries while they were at Cambridge. They talked about being taught by the most renowned experts in the world sometimes in their relevant fields. And what you see here in this photo is a picture of many of our honor students from a few years ago with Carol. Carol got to go that year. Carol is our wonderful assistant coordinator of the honors program. You'll be hearing from her a little bit later. And these students are having a great time. That year it was very hot. The grass was completely withered. Usually it's much, much greener in England. So let's talk about something that everybody always wants to know about. If I start at RCC, where can I go? And at the beginning of this presentation, I said you can go anywhere, and it's true. Now, we cannot guarantee acceptance to a particular institution. That's not something that we can do. However, our students who do really well in the honors program often are accepted to elite institutions, including Columbia University, Georgetown, Cornell, Amherst, NYU, all kinds of places. And so we have had students who are accepted at every place that you see here. And we're going to dig down and drill down a little bit and think about the past 2 years. And I'll show you some of the more recent transfer data that I can offer to you. So I've put side by side 2019 and 2020. Now, I do want to acknowledge that this is self-reported data and that in 2020, we had a little bit of trouble reaching as many students as we normally do to confirm where they were accepted and where they decided to matriculate as a transfer student because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was still fairly new at that point, and we had a little bit of trouble following up with students. So you're not going to see as many students represented in 2020 as we normally have in years past, which is why I've also included 2019. What we do is we break down where students get in by tiers. And the tiers I have loosely defined as ranked 1 to 50 on the US News and World Report rankings, and tier 2 ranked 51 to 100 in those rankings. And so if your school is in tier 2, but you believe it's in tier 1, I hope you please won't take offense tonight. This is just something that we have to draw the line somewhere. And so this is the cutoff that we use as we're thinking about the competitive nature of the institutions that our students get into. So you're seeing here some pie charts about breakdowns. You'll see that quite a lot of students transfer to other SUNY institutions. And in fact, I would venture to say that we are a highway to places like Binghamton and Stony Brook. It's actually much easier to get into Binghamton as a transfer student than it is to get in as a high school senior, okay? And so if you want to go to Binghamton or Stony Brook or somewhere like that, starting at RCC is a wonderful choice for you. And being in the honors program will mean that you're very well prepared for that step. So what are the top transfer choices, or what were they in 2019? So Binghamton was at the top of the list, and then Stony Brook. So you'll see why I called those out. A few other SUNY schools were as well, wonderful institutions within our system. You'll see Pace on the list. You'll see a few CUNY schools, excuse me, and we have one of our wonderful alumni here tonight who recently graduated from Baruch, and so he'll be able to say a little bit about that. You also see institutions like Cornell on this list, and Fordham and NYU. Those are very popular choices. And in fact, NYU offers a transfer scholarship that is, really, you can apply for it, you can compete for it, and it's open to students at RCC and a few other community colleges in the region, okay? Tier 1 acceptances in 2019, I'll just let you take a look at this list. These are not necessarily all individual students. What I mean by that is one student may have gotten into 2 or more of these institutions, but these are places where in the tier 1 category, students were accepted in 2019. Some standouts there are places like William and Mary, Cornell and Columbia, Johns Hopkins, Wesleyan, just really wonderful standout institutions that are ranked very high in the US News and World Report ranking. And here are some of our tier 1 acceptances from 2020. You see some familiar names, but also some other names. And I really encourage students from RCC to apply to a variety of places around the nation and the world. For example, students applying to Carleton College, a small liberal arts school that is just always ranked so high, has such a wonderful reputation. That's out in Minnesota. Grinnell out in Iowa. There are sometimes schools that students don't think of, and we try to educate our students about all the options that exist out there. If you look at some tier 2 acceptances, and again, remember, your school may fall in tier 2 and you may not agree with it, but that's just how we're labeling things at the moment. You'll see schools like Fordham and Rutgers, you'll see Bard, Stevens and Syracuse, UMass Amherst, University of San Diego. So you can see the diversity here across the acceptances that we have in the honors program. And this was from 2020. We have Rutgers again, UMass Amherst, Syracuse, Fordham, et cetera. So just a wide array of places where our students have chosen to go and where they've been accepted. In terms of SUNY, you'll notice that again, Binghamton is always our top destination. And it's true that it is a very popular choice for our students. In fact, there is an entire RCC honors sort of contingent that continues to be refreshed at places like Binghamton and Stony Brook. That leads to some wonderful connections. When a student goes off to one of these places, they are not alone. They can just, connect with the students who were a year above them. Those students will give them advice. This has also been traditionally true in places such as Cornell, Columbia, and Johns Hopkins, places where almost every year students get in from RCC honors. And what that means is that when you set foot on a place like that, you're not alone, right? You have people who you know, who have gone through the same program that you have, who have transferred just as you have, and they can help you. And we love that community. We love that our honors family extends throughout the nation and the world, continuing to help each other and support each other. Again, for more SUNY acceptances from 2020, again, you see that Binghamton, Buffalo, and Stony Brook are always the big contenders. For CUNY, for those wanting to go into the city, Baruch is the top destination, followed by Hunter, and that continues to be true over the years. Many of our business students in particular are interested in studying at the Zicklin School of Business at Baruch. And it's a really wonderful school, and we are in touch with them about their requirements and adjusting ours to suit as well. And you have there our 2020 data. Again, you can see that Baruch is very popular, as is City College and Hunter. So we've talked a little bit about the transfer data that exists, and we're happy to share these slides with you after the presentation. Happy to email them to you so that you can peruse this data more closely. What I also want to talk about is the cost of transferring and what scholarships are available. I think it's important to know that right away. There are not as many transfer scholarships available as there are scholarships for first-year students. That is something that you should know. However, you'll be saving a lot of money at Rockland Community College. And what you can do is apply for a number of prestigious scholarships and also get involved in organizations that offer scholarships of their own. So for example, one of the most prestigious scholarships out there is the Jack Kent Cooke Undergraduate Transfer Scholarship, and that is up to $40,000 annually. We have had students who have been winners and semifinalists, and it's a wonderful scholarship to get. Even if you don't get it, if you're a semifinalist, that's something you can put on your resume. And that is just an incredible program that is only open to community college students. There is another transfer opportunity specific to NYU that is only open to community college students near New York City, including RCC. And that is NYU's CC Top, Community College Transfer Opportunity Program. It is open to students who want to study in the Steinhardt School, the Silver School of Social Work, the College of Nursing, the School of Professional Studies, and who wish to be humanities majors in the College of Arts and Science at NYU. It is a competitive scholarship. You do not receive it automatically. And if you're interested in NYU, you want to make sure that you tell your mentor that right away, because NYU has very strict transfer requirements to be eligible for this scholarship. Okay, you have to amass 60 transferable credits to be eligible to compete for this scholarship. But it is a wonderful scholarship that will help you thrive at NYU. We also are, organized. We have an organization called Phi Theta Kappa. That's an international honors society. It's old, it's prestigious, and it does a lot of good in the world. So if you, after your first semester at RCC, have a 3.6 GPA or higher, you have no incompletes on your transcript, and you have amassed at least 12 college credits, you will receive an invitation to Phi Theta Kappa. When you join Phi Theta Kappa, you become eligible to apply for two different kinds of scholarships. One from PTK itself. There's a whole cluster of scholarships that you can apply for that are essentially given by Phi Theta Kappa. And then there are also many four-year schools, including schools like NYU and Binghamton and Boston University and many other places that give scholarships to students who are PTK members. Sometimes those scholarships are automatic. For example, St. Thomas Aquinas in this county, they give scholarships that are half off tuition for any PTK member. So if you're at RCC and you join PTK because you're invited and you want to go to STAC, you'll have half off tuition automatically. In other circumstances, for example, there's a $20,000 scholarship to Boston University, but you have to compete for that one. So the rules are different, but the point is Phi Theta Kappa is a wonderful organization to join because of its scholarship opportunities. A few others I'll mention quickly. The Finch College scholarships. Finch is a college that no longer exists. It was an all-girls school in Manhattan, but Finch alumni continue to award scholarships to students who are female identified, who are 22 years and older. It's a wonderful scholarship for our female students. And then RCC also has scholarships, and those are open to incoming and continuing students, and those scholarships are offered each spring. In fact, they're about to be offered in just a few weeks. So we've talked a little bit about what the program is. We've talked about some of the things that make it special. We've talked about our transfer outcomes for our students who move on to wonderful institutions. We've talked about some ways to pay for those wonderful institutions. Now let's talk about how to join. If this has been compelling to you, how would you join? So if you are currently in high school, before you apply to the honors program, you must apply to and be accepted by Rockland Community College. And I'll show you our webpage later. We try to lay all of this out very clearly, okay? When you've been accepted by RCC, you can then visit the honors program's website to fill out the application. There is an essay, it's about 500 words. You need to submit your high school transcript and 2 letters of recommendation directly to the honors office, and we'll show you the email address to use. It's also very clear on the application. When you've submitted that material, we will reach out to you to schedule an interview. What we're looking for is around an 88 or higher cumulative GPA in high school. And if you've taken a standardized test, we're looking for around 1150 or so, or on the SAT, or a 26 plus on the ACT. However, I want to first say that all of these numbers are ballpark figures, okay? So if you, let's say that the beginning of high school was really rough for you, but you were on an upward trajectory by the end of it, that's going to be very compelling to us, okay? Let's say that you took an SAT or an ACT and it didn't go well. We ask you to self-report your scores. We're not going to ask for the official scores from the College Board, and you do not have to report them if you don't want to. The only reason we really want to know them is for the purpose of mentoring. We want to mentor you well. And when you transfer, some of those top-ranked schools are going to require SAT or ACT scores. And so we want to then be able to tell you, okay, your scores were solid, but it would be best if they were a little bit higher. Why don't you take the test again in the summer after your first year? And that kind of advice is really useful to our students who want to be as competitive as possible. So I don't want any of these numbers to dissuade you from applying. If you are somewhere around this ballpark, please do submit your application. And as noted, we interview every single student who applies with us because we know that the numbers only tell part of the story. We want to talk to you. We want to know what makes you tick, what makes you passionate, and what your goals are, because we are going to help you meet your goals. That's our job, is whatever your goal is, to help you meet it. And it's an amazing opportunity to be able to work with students that way and not really care as much about the numbers as other places do. So a few more pieces of information about our applications. So I'm hoping we have some current RCC students here as well. Current students, if you're here at RCC, you can also apply to the honors program. It's good to do this sooner rather than later, because if you want the full experience, it's going to take some time to get that. And so we're happy to work with you and strategize with you about how to handle the fact that you've taken some courses as non-honors, but we want your application. You have a slightly separate application for the honors program. You do need to fill out the essay. You are also going to need to ask one RCC professor who has taught you in class to submit a letter of recommendation to honors@sunyrockland.edu, and we're then going to contact you to schedule an interview. So a 3.5 cumulative GPA, though, is necessary prior to your entering honors, okay? So if your GPA is less than 3.5, unfortunately, you will not be eligible for the program. And that's for your own good, to be honest, because the honors classes are harder than the non-honors classes. And so we want you to be successful. But we're looking forward to hopefully seeing many applications from our current students. And then finally, we want to talk to our early admit students. So these are students who are in high school. It might be a junior in high school right now, or maybe you're a little bit younger and you're thinking about this as an option. You can do your senior year of high school at RCC. And the first step here is to speak with your guidance counselor, because that person needs to know that you are planning this or you're thinking about it. Then you're going to apply to RCC as an early admit student through that program. When you're accepted by RCC, you're then going to apply to the honors program, just as we've explained for other high school students. One key distinction here is that you are the bridge between your high school and college. So RCC has requirements, but your high school's requirements are actually more strict. And there are going to be certain courses that you're going to have to take to complete your high school diploma. And every school in the county is a little bit different. There is no one standard. So we're going to ask you to tell us, what does your guidance counselor say you need to take? We will help you take those courses as honors and non-honors as appropriate. And then when you're finished with your first year, you'll have a choice. go off and go to a four-year school as a first-year student, or stay with us and get an associate degree and then transfer in your next year. So we have a wonderful body of students who are early admits, and some of them choose to move on and some of them don't, and you'll be very welcomed and you'll feel a part of a sort of a group within the honors program if you decide to take that course. Okay, now one other thing I want you to know, prospective early admits. There are some of the most elite schools that will not allow you to get transfer credit for college courses taken while in high school, or they will drastically minimize the number. So for example, Cornell will let you have 15 credits. That's about 5 classes, give or take, that you took between high school and college. So if you are a high school senior and you're taking college level classes and you want to go to Cornell, Cornell is only going to allow you to take 15 credits of those. And they also have a few other rules. Columbia rarely, if ever, allows any credits to be transferred from the ones you took in college. So there are many other schools that will allow you to transfer the credits you took as a high school senior and just seamlessly transfer them right into that school. But the very most elite institutions in the country often have strict rules. So I want to be clear on that. I don't want anyone to be fooled. I want you to know the truth and to be transparent so that you can do your research about this as you're planning on whether being an early admit student is the right fit for you. We have had early admit students, by the way, who went through, got into Cornell and decided to retake some of their classes that they already took in the summer before going to Cornell so that they could transfer them in. It's about what you take as a high school student that those schools have an issue with, okay? So just be on the lookout for that. And I'm happy to answer questions about that at a later point. Now, I'm delighted to be able to introduce our mentors to you. And our mentors, not all of them are able to be present with us tonight, but our mentors who are here are going to be able to speak to their role in the program and to the classes that they teach and to their mentoring philosophy. And they're going to be able to really share some wonderful stories with you. And then we will hear from our wonderful alumni and from our current students. And so you're not going to want to miss any of that. Let's start then with Professor Arvanites. So why don't you go ahead? So,
Dr. Lynch, thank you. My name is Professor Arvanites. I mentor mathematics, physics, engineering, computer science students in the program. It's a very competitive program. One of the hallmarks of the program is the mentoring. You'll be paired with a mentor in your area of specialization, and that area may change. Over the years, I've had a couple of students that have gone from actually a STEM field to a humanities or social science field, and that was seamless. The mentors worked together, so I was still in touch with the student when they changed mentors, and the student had always access to me to ask me any questions about math courses they had to take or what courses were best for their new major, and that was not a problem whatsoever. We do accept advanced placement credit in the department if you take statistics or calculus AB or calculus BC. We do give you transfer credit for math. What that means is you'll be given a certain number of credits ranging from 4 to 8, which is quite substantial, and you will no longer have to take those, but you can use them on your degree sheet. The honors courses that we do offer at Rockland are honors statistics. We do have an honors calculus 1 and an honors calculus 2. So those are 3 courses. They're each 4 credits each, and you can take them and receive credit for 3 of those 8 honors courses that Dr. Lynch reminded you are required in the program. The students are a pleasure to work with, as you know. They're hardworking. They're very active. They're proactive. They keep up on their studies. They don't fall behind. They're the most emailing students that we have. They send us emails quite regularly. In fact, I always brag. I had a student years ago who, this is no lie, he would send me an email every day to let me know how he was doing. Now he's a vice president in a firm in New York City. I was not surprised. And the students in the program are just so enjoyable to work with. They do become leaders in a lot of the clubs, club presidents. I had the pleasure of having a few of the student representatives on the board of trustees as my mentees. And again, they're very motivated, very student oriented. They're very interested in improving the college campus for students. And it's just been a pleasure working with the students all of these years. I've been in the program, believe it or not, since 1994. I started when I was 10. I'm kidding. But and it just continues to improve and get better and better. So if you have any other questions about the math, please don't be afraid to ask me them at the end of the session. I'd be glad to answer them for you. Thank you, Dr. Lynch.
Thank you, Professor Arvanites. Dr. Lee, we'll hear from you next. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Honors Open House. I teach Honors College Writing 2 this semester. Besides that, I also teach regular College Writing 2. And between the two types of classes, I would certainly see the difference in terms of the rigor of the curriculum, because we have to keep our curriculum really high standards to be competitive in order to transfer our students to Tier 1 and Ivy League schools. I take pride in having Dr. Lynch as the coordinator, program director of the program, because she's very committed in promoting students, and she is a champion for students and very innovative. I also am very grateful for the team, because everyone on the team is committed, and our only goal is to help our students grow and go to places in life. So our students are, I think they are very lucky to be in the honors program. I used to teach before we went into the remote learning. My classroom was next to the honors office, and that room was the hub. A lot of students, go to that room, even though they don't have classes. They just want to be there because it's a family for them. I also enjoy the mentorship with being a mentor to students, because sometimes, students do not necessarily listen to their own parents, but they do listen to their mentors. And I think that's the secret for our success. So I speak both as a faculty member and also as a parent, because my son came to the RCC Honors Program as an early admit, and he really thrived here, and eventually transferred to Cornell. And then from Cornell, he went to University of Chicago on a 5-year full scholarship. So I didn't pay a penny for his PhD. And I paid very little for his Cornell as well, because when he transferred to Cornell, he transferred to the School of Human Ecology, and we paid the state tuition. So he's very, very happy for choosing this path. However, he did not listen to me, because when I asked him to come to RCC, he said no. But he was convinced by his friends, because they came to RCC and they told him how wonderful it was. And they also told him, make sure you go to Cambridge. And he did. So I am very happy. Now he has a very successful career and he's very happy. So I am very happy, and I want to see more students to join this group of happy kids. So that's what I would like to share with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lee. We always love hearing both of your perspectives. That's always very helpful. Professor Roche.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the info session. I've been serving as a mentor in the Business Honors track since 2016, when the business track became the first track in the honors program. Students who successfully complete the Business Honors track will earn an Associate of Science degree in Business Administration. And the curriculum, as Dr. Lynch had said previously, does contain a mixture of both liberal arts honors and also business honors classes. And in particular, we teach financial and managerial accounting, micro and macroeconomics, business ethics, Principles of Marketing and Multicultural Studies as honors sections. And in fact, this semester I am teaching Principles of Marketing honors, and I'm also teaching a regular section, and my honors students are collaborating with students in Jordan on a global sustainability challenge competition. So as Dr. Lynch also said, students have to have an applied learning experience. So in the business track, the students take Business 273, which is our internship program. And in that particular experience, they're able to translate their conceptual knowledge they learned in the classroom into practical on-the-job applications during the 135 hours that they are working. So besides the academics, students are also involved in some of our business extracurricular activities. We do have an economics club, we have an entrepreneurship club, and we also have Alpha Beta Gamma. And Alpha Beta Gamma is an international business honor society that recognizes and encourages scholarship among two-year college students majoring in business. So it's a pleasure teaching the honor students, as everybody has said so far. They are very motivated, interested, committed, and they do keep in touch with us all the time, especially the second-year students now who you were asking for recommendation letters as they were filling out their college applications. And we all await the decisions when they come in. So thank you for your time, and I wish everybody the best in their future academic pursuits.
Thank you so much, Professor Roche. Really appreciate it. Professor Jacobs, let's hear from you.
Hi, my name is Andrew Jacobs, and I teach in the speech departments, also called Communication Studies, and also classes in Multicultural Studies, mostly in Gender Studies, actually, in fact. And yeah, I just want to echo really everything that all of the mentors and Dr. Lynch have said already. I have to say a few words about Dr. Lynch too. I think that she's really wonderful advocate for students and really excellent at keeping on top of things. And I think particularly in the remote situation, I know it's very complicated, I think, sometimes for students to keep focus. And she's done a really excellent job of that. And she's always really a fierce advocate for students and is on top of transfer and those sorts of things. And as I think you can see from this presentation, you get a sense of that. And the other mentors are all really very well loved. And I think that's really important because I think ultimately what makes a school worthwhile is a sense of community that you have there. And I think that's something that really that RCC excels at, is creating that sense of community. And I think you get a sense of the dedication of the other mentors to the students, and I think you'll get a sense of the love that the students have for one another too. I think that really is what sets us apart. And I think it makes us a little bit like a lot of those more elite, small liberal arts colleges, where to me, I think the ability to meet in small settings with a few students and meet individually with faculty members is so incredibly valuable. And I think that that's something that really that RCC offers. And those connections really go beyond the classroom in a number of different ways. I was very impressed. Now that we're online, I have a lot of students that spontaneously created group chats. I know that Dr. Lynch has run a Discord channel. And so there are all these mechanisms that students on their own and that other faculty members have created that have really helped to build that sense of community. And I think that's really valuable. I was just thinking myself, just as people were talking about, just the number of students that I've been in contact with who've graduated, who are alumni. And just off the top of my head, I can think of about half a dozen students that I've been in communication with in just the past semester or so, including a student that's currently at Columbia, another that's at Wesleyan, a couple of other alumni, one that went to Baruch, et cetera, and another that's taking a gap year but will be at Swarthmore next year. And so I think that really gives you a sense of the connection that faculty build with students. And I think that's probably true for pretty much all the mentors that you could talk to today. I also run the debate team at RCC, and that's something that's always available to students too. So I just want to put that out there for anybody who does end up at RCC, that please knock on my door, or at least do that electronically if need be. And definitely a lot of the RCC honor students tend to end up in leadership positions for the debate team as well. So that's something to be aware of. All right, so thank you for listening.
Wonderful. Thank you, Professor Jacobs. And last but certainly not least, Professor Makovich.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Matt Makovich. I teach in the math department at RCC. I also mentor mostly math majors, people interested in physics, computer science, engineering. My unique experience here is that I'm actually an alumni of the program as well. I always ask to go after Professor Arvanites. He was my mentor while I was in this program. And as long as I've been doing this and continue to do this, I can't give this spiel as good as he does. So I make sure he goes first. I can't stress enough the mentor-mentee relationship, how much, and I'll be honest, how much it means both ways, what it means to me. It's my favorite part of the day when I get to speak to my mentees. It's a little bit sad this time of year because nothing's better than when a student rushes in and tells them where they've been accepted to, and I get to puff my chest out a little bit like I had anything to do with your success. The strength of this program is so much on the students, and I can't thank you enough for being here tonight and your interest and in joining us.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So you've heard from most of our mentors tonight. Those who weren't able to join us, Dr. Odessa Butler, who actually also chairs our science program at RCC, and Professor Elise Fuller, who is a biology professor. We have wonderful honors biology and honors chemistry courses that they teach, and many, as I mentioned, research opportunities in the sciences, as well as opportunities such as Tri Beta, the Biological Honor Society, and the Chemistry Club, opportunities for students to distinguish themselves in research. It is such a rich environment if you are interested in the sciences. And so just because our honors science mentors were not able to be here tonight, I don't want you to think that we don't have a very robust program. We do. If you are pre-med, if you're interested in majoring in biology or in chemistry, please make sure that we're happy to put you in touch with them. And of course, you've heard from two of our mathematics professors. So if you're interested in physics or math or computer science, they would be your mentors. So what I want to do now is introduce you to some people who are just going to be able to tell you what it was like to be a student here at RCC, and then what happened after they left. So these are our alumni. We have 4 alumni who have taken the time out of their busy schedules to join us this evening. And then we're going to hear from 2 current honor students as well to give you the boots on the ground perspective, including how it's been in the pandemic. So I want to start by allowing Robert Chaplin to introduce himself. Rob, why don't you go ahead?
Can everybody hear me? All right. So as Dr. Lynch said, my name is Robert Chaplin, and I graduated from the program in 2009. Yeah, I know, a very long time ago, but that just goes to show you my gratitude with RCC. So I still remember going through the initial process of even applying and hearing about the program. I was honestly a little bit skeptical at first. I almost thought of it when it was first introduced to me more of as a backup plan. But after attending an information session such as you all are doing, meeting with some of the mentors, I quickly realized that it was actually my best option that I had. Just doing some research and even having the benefit of hindsight, the first couple of years of college experience is really best spent like building a foundation, learning studying habits, taking core classes, which are mostly required anyway. A lot of schools don't even allow you to kind of pick your major till you're a sophomore or maybe even a junior. So it's just really about like finding that passion, finding student activities, and the honors program really highlights all of that at the forefront. It really gives you the best options to build this foundation, gives you a great system that has worked now for over decades. You can just see by myself being here. It's really backed by the committed professors and mentors that you've even heard from today thus far. I was able to, I don't think I was ever really told no while I was on campus for anything. I was able to do an internship while I was there. I was able to do a study abroad and go to Cambridge. I was able to do an independent study. I was able to start a literary magazine and start some other business interests that I had while I was there. Do student government, join Phi Theta Kappa. So I'll just say it really just brought me out of a bubble that I really did not ever see myself getting out of academically. In high school, I was really just primarily focused on basketball, still had good grades, 92s and above, 90s and above, but didn't really look at the college process. I didn't really understand the college process too much at that time. And then going to RCC, you surround yourself, especially in the honors program, with a lot of other students who are like-minded, who all have big goals there while they're in the program, that they really want to get something out of it. So not only do you have great mentors that you can turn to, but a lot of the students who are soon going to become your friends, you're going to be noticing that they're going to be forcing great study habits on you as well. And it just really all helps to build a foundation that is really hard to build at other larger universities, just giving the community aspect that you get with the program. So just in terms of where it led to me, I was able to get into a bunch of the colleges that I applied to. So I was able to get into some Ivy League schools for Cornell, Dartmouth. I was able to get in some schools on the West Coast for USC. So it really just opened up a ton of different doors and opportunities that I really didn't have before. Ultimately ended up going to Georgetown University. While I was there, I was able to start and find my career in digital analytics and sports marketing. So I was able to start an internship while I was down there for the Washington Wizards and Mystics. And it pretty much just was opened up more opportunities just for myself down the line. Was able to work with Floyd Mayweather for a couple of years. And then for the next 6 years, worked at Madison Square Garden. And now I'm managing digital analytics and the websites for 1-800-Flowers.com. So it's just a bunch of different things that I was taught while I was at RCC that continue to stay with me throughout my life, that I didn't really know was going to be some of the benefits of the school and opportunity while I was attending on campus. So it goes a lot further than just academic doors and opportunities that you've heard thus far. You're really going to build some significant life skills and a great foundation to build off of.
Thank you so much, Rob. We really appreciate your being here with us tonight. Although I'm not sure I forgive you for not choosing Dartmouth. That's my alma mater. But I know you had a wonderful time at Georgetown. And you know, one of the things that Rob has done, by the way, is to be a mentor to some of our current and former students as well who are interested in Georgetown, right? So when we had other students interested in Georgetown, we reached out to Rob. Rob said, yes, of course, I'll answer their questions. And as a result of that, there's been once about every, about 2 years, sometimes a little bit more, there's been a student who's been able to go to Georgetown and receive the benefit of other RCC students who have gone before. So thank you so much for being here this evening. Karina, you're next on my list. So Karina Berlingeri, come on up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karina. I'm a 2016 honors graduate. I am a huge fan of the honors program. I recommend it to anyone that's in high school or considering going to college. I think it's an amazing choice, and it definitely was the right choice for me, and I wouldn't be where I am today without doing so. My time at RCC was very pivotal for my academic journey. I, had a bunch of great mentors there, Dr. Lynch, Professor Jacobs, Professor Burke. They're all such amazing teachers and mentors that really pushed me, to go down this academic path. And, after my time at RCC, I ended up going to Cornell, and there I studied environmental biology. And I got to say, the teachers at RCC are just as good as the teachers at Cornell, if not better. And I, time and time again, I say that to anyone that's considering going to the RCC program. So, again, I went to Cornell, and I would say that my classes at RCC really prepared me for that. I didn't find it very hard to transfer in and to adjust. I would say that the level of classes in the honors program are, just as good as any four-year institution. After Cornell, I took on a bunch of different research positions. I'm an ecosystem ecologist, I would say. And I, studied temperate ecosystems in New Hampshire and tropical ecosystems in Puerto Rico, and eventually landed where I am today. And I'm a research technician right now at a lab at Harvard University, and I just got accepted for a PhD program at Harvard about like 2 weeks ago. And I would not be here today without going to RCC. My time there was, it really helped shape me into the researcher and, student I am today, and person I am today as well. And I think that it's a good move for anyone. And if I could go back in time, I would do it all over again. Yeah. And if anyone has any questions about going to Cornell or, is interested in like biology or ecology, I can drop my email down in the chat and feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you about that as well. Yeah. And if you have any questions about like transferring from RCC to any college, I'd be happy to answer those questions too.
Thank you so much, Karina, and congratulations. It's the first time I've been able to see you face to face since I heard the news. So just amazing work. Okay, so Jose, you're up next. Tell us about Baruch, Jose, and tell us about you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jose Madriego. I graduated RCC in 2018 with an AS in Business Administration. Throughout my career at RCC, I was very shy and had I felt like it was going to be very hard because we hear the honors program and we're like, this is going to be extremely hard if it's more difficult than the actual classes in college, right? But I had a lot of fun doing all my classes. There were some courses where I was pushed to come out of my shell, to come out of my comfort zone, especially in English. I came to the US in 2010, so English is my second language. So it was just basically 4 years after coming here that I started college, and I was very not prepared in essay writing or anything, but I had amazing professors, Professor Lee and Professor Dr. Lynch, who helped me through that process. I wrote amazing essays that sometimes I look now and I'm like, I don't even think I wrote that, because it just there's a lot of detailed writing that I didn't think was possible. I still keep a lot of my books from medieval literature or college writing 1 and 2, where I sometimes just open them and read them, because there were just a lot of courses that I enjoyed and that I still look back to, and I wish I could go back to. I transferred to Baruch in 2018, and I graduated with a bachelor's in statistics and quantitative modeling. There were a lot of the transfer process was extremely smooth for me from RCC as well as Baruch. There were a lot of courses that I didn't have to take, especially coming in with an associate degree. It was easier than coming in as a regular transfer student without an associate's. There were some courses where, especially English courses, where I wrote some essays and the professors would just give it back to me and say, I've never read something like this. And I was just like, this is what I learned at RCC, and I was extremely proud of the things I could have accomplished. I'm currently applying to graduate school. I just got accepted into Mellman School of Public Health at Columbia for the MPH program in epidemiology and biostatistics, and I'm currently waiting for NYU response. I was extremely headed for business when I came into RCC, but all of the writing and thinking that I did throughout my college, I changed my career path multiple times. I went from mathematics to business, and then I went back to mathematics by graduating in statistics. But I'm currently extremely happy that I can study epidemiology and hopefully change the health of poor communities and marginalized communities throughout the US and the world, something that I didn't think it was going to be possible when I first came to the US.
Thank you so much, Jose, and congratulations to you as well. It's such an incredible accomplishment. We're so proud of all of you. So Kyla, you are next on my list.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Kyla Walden, and I graduated from the honors program in 2019 with my associates in humanities and social sciences in the honors track. So I am so incredibly grateful that I attended the honors program. It was such an amazing experience for me. I felt that especially as a first generation student who was a little bit just uncertain and ambivalent coming into college, I really felt like the level of just mentorship and attention that I received from, the faculty in the program was so important for me, and so extremely, formative, and it really helped me, actualize sort of my academic interests too, because definitely when you're first coming into college, you sometimes have different ideas of what direction you might want to be going in, and so, being somebody who was a little bit uncertain about those things, I was really able to, both through the mentorship I received and through the courses I took, really be able to gain sort of a broad foundation in a lot of different areas, which helped me narrow my scope. And the courses are excellent. I think that I really was I have learned so many, everything I learned at RCC has helped me so much where I am now. And especially as a humanities and social sciences major, I took a lot of, English courses with Dr. Lynch, which just made my writing ability so much better. And I feel like that was just super formative. And there were, like everyone has mentioned, the student community at RCC is also great. It was so nice to be part of that kind of smaller community of students who, you all kind of share the common interest. Most people want to transfer. And so, I was able to feel very connected and supported throughout my time in the program. And, I have friends that I still keep in touch with and faculty that I still keep in touch with. RCC also gives you the opportunity to, like people have mentioned, go to Cambridge, which I did, which was an amazing experience. It's like my first time leaving the country, and it was really great to have that sort of international experience and also take so many great courses, which were very informative and interesting. And I also had the opportunity to present a paper that I wrote for Dr. Lynch's class at the Beacon Conference, which is something that students can do as well, where it's really great that you're getting to have that conference presentation experience, during those first 2 years. So that was really great for me as well, because was really interested in research. So getting to have that experience was super valuable as well. And the transfer process for me was great. I was supported so much. I applied to a lot of different schools, and I was able to get great recommendations and great guidance with my personal statements and my essays. And I was I applied to a lot of schools, but I'll just mention some I was accepted to. So I was accepted to NYU and Tulane University and a lot of different schools on the East Coast, but ultimately I ended up making the decision to attend the University of Southern California in California, in Los Angeles, which is where I'm where I'm zooming in from right now. And the transfer process coming here was very smooth for me. I feel like I didn't miss a beat. I felt like I was able to keep up with people who had been here for 2 years before me. I was able to get involved in research labs pretty much right away. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm a psychology major. So I'm interested in research focusing on substance use problems and health disparities in kind of marginalized groups like LGBTQ, ethnic minorities. Just between the support I received during the transfer process, how it went when I arrived, and also worth mentioning too that all of my courses I took at RCC were able to transfer in, no problem, and I didn't have to take really any extra classes or anything to make up for anything. So that was also really great. So I'm now a senior at USC, so I'll be graduating in May, and 2 weeks ago, or maybe it's more than 2 weeks ago, time has a different quality recently. Some weeks ago, I was accepted to the clinical psychology PhD program at USC with it was a great offer, great fellowship. So I committed to it pretty much right away. And so now I will be continuing to stay at USC, and I'm gonna be a doctoral student next fall. I just can't stress enough, how much I value my time at RCC and how much it has, shaped my future, and just everything has been just an excellent path forward toward my career and academic goals. And I'm just very appreciative.
Well, we are very proud of and appreciative of you as well, and everyone. So Rob and Karina and Jose and Kyla, thank you, alumni, for joining us tonight. If you can stick around during our Q&A, that would be wonderful. If you need to go, we understand, of course. And thanks, Karina, for putting your info in the chat too. Everybody, if you have questions for one of these 4 wonderful alumni, please feel free to direct those questions to them. And if they have to leave, I'll pass that along. We now have two current honor students who are just going to share a little bit with you, and then we will pretty quickly move into a Q&A where you're welcome to unmute and ask any questions. You can of course keep putting questions in the chat. So Josh, why don't you go ahead and unmute and share a little bit about what it's been like to be an honor student over the past couple years?
Sure, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight. My name is Josh, and I was introduced to the honors program when I was first in Dr. Lynch's English 2 class as a non-honor student. And there she saw my potential and encouraged me to apply to the program. And that's been sort of the hallmark of my experience with all my instructors, seeing the skills and experiences that you bring and meeting you where you are to help develop your skills and nurture your interests so that you're prepared to move on to these prestigious four-year schools. And so I want to talk to you about why I decided to join on.
Oops, so Josh, we lost you a little bit. Looks like you're, hopefully Josh's connection will come back. Let's give him another second to see if it can come back. Oh, Josh, we can't quite hear you, unfortunately.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, so you just came back in. So let's go ahead and try it. Go ahead and try again. Yeah, no worries.
Well,
and if
sorry
you want
about
to turn
that.
off your video, if you want to turn off your video, that might help actually. We love seeing you, but you know, just
Sure.
in the interest of a good connection. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
okay,
want to not see you, but yeah.
I'll go ahead and do that because
Okay,
it can
sounds
be a
good,
little
sounds
iffy.
Yeah, I know.
I think so. I was just saying that my introduction to the honors program came through Dr. Lee and her recommendation that I join the program because she saw a lot of potential in me and she encouraged me to apply. And that's really been the hallmark of my experience with my instructors, where they are able to nurture my skills and develop my interests to the point where we're prepared when we try to transfer to prestigious four-year schools. And so I wanted to talk to you all about just briefly why I ultimately did join the honors program and why the mentoring component has been so remarkable for me and what I've been able to do here as an honors student. So it's just been fantastic through and through. I decided to join because, as you know, the advantages of lower cost as compared to some of these other four-year schools, going right from high school to college, and the preparation and mentorship that you're able to get here, I think it surpasses that experience at other schools. So if you're able to develop and mature here before going on to a more rigorous environment, and I think that can be beneficial for everyone. And as an RCC student, part of the honors program, I've been involved with the Economics and Entrepreneurship Club. I was an intern at Outlook, our student newspaper. I was invited to join Phi Theta Kappa, the International Honor Society, and I have been given access to a plethora of scholarships and transfer opportunities. And for the past year, I've been a tutor at the Reading and Writing Center. I can say, though, with confidence that I would not have been able to do that without the RCC Honors Program, because when I joined the program, I was given a purpose beyond just sort of meandering through the schools, and I was put in an environment where I was challenged, but also I was given all the support that I needed. And so we like to say here that it's a high challenge, high support environment, and I can attest to that being absolutely true in my experience. I love that the classes tend to be smaller than the regular classes. They're also more rigoring and engaging because of that, so we get to really talk among our peers, have spent time with our professors and get targeted instruction that I think better prepares us to transfer overall. And so I just want to share with you all that when I first joined the honors program, I had about a 3.5 GPA. And now at the end of my tenure, now that I'm applying to transfer and I'm going to graduate with my associates and liberal arts, I have about a 3.9 GPA. So that improvement is I credit the program, I credit my wonderful mentor, Dr. Lee, who you heard from before, and Dr. Lynch, who I've gotten closer to and worked with this semester, who's been an incredible advocate on my behalf and just incredibly supportive on my journey to transfer. And I think the honors program, I was able to really hone my analytical and communication skills, and I feel very prepared to move on to get my bachelor's degree. And so I hope you all consider the program, because it is an amazing value for you all, and it can be really a place to launch your professional and academic careers from, in a community that is going to follow you and support you here and at your next institution and beyond that. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Josh, for taking the time. I know this is such a busy time. There's a lot of transfer applications due this coming Monday, and it means a lot that you would take some time out tonight and be with us to share your perspective. So our final presenter for this evening is current RCC honors student, Kayla. And Kayla is going to tell us a little bit about her experience. She's also the honors student assistant. So every year, thanks to the college's investment, we're able to hire a student who works in the office. And of course, all of it is happening remote now, but that's just such a wonderful resource for fellow students to have someone like them who's working with our team to make sure that we're doing everything we need to do to be supportive. So Kayla, go ahead and unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla McLaughlin. I'm currently a second-year student in the honors program. I'm pursuing a degree in civil engineering through the math and science track. I originally heard about the honors program through my mom, and then I had a mutual friend who was in the program as an early admit, so we were the same age, but we were at different levels, and she convinced me to apply and join the honors program, and that was one of the best decisions I've made so far. It really is, like a high challenge, but very high reward program. So as Dr. Lynch also mentioned, I'm the current student assistant for the honors program, and I'm also the president of the honors newsletter club. So as a student assistant, I help students if they have any questions or concerns that they don't feel comfortable approaching a professor about. So, if they have a concern about their workload, or, they need help with time management or stress or whatever, like they don't necessarily want to go to their mentor or a professor, I'm the person that they can go to. It also helps students schedule for the semester. Their mentors will give them class recommendations, but when it comes to scheduling, that's a whole other thing that you do need like some help with. So I'm there to help students with that as well. So as I mentioned, I'm also the president of the newsletter club. So the newsletter club is for honor students by honor students. So all the members are honor students, and we write about anything and everything honor students have done from the fall through the spring semester. So usually we'd write about internships and going to Cambridge, but those were limited this year. But we'd also write about community service events that students do and community service events that our club does, as well as educational events that we have. So in the past, we've done a collection for High Tour. We have done now 2 years in a row an Adopt a Family fundraiser where we collect items off of a wish list of several families for the holiday season. And for the mentoring process, it's definitely something that, is very helpful. You get that one-on-one time with your mentor in the specific field you're interested in. And they're very knowledgeable about, what you need to take, when you should take it. If you had any problems or concerns about, when to take a class, or if that class would be the right fit for you, you could go to your mentor about that, and they'll help you through the whole process. So even though we are remote, you still get the attention and that you would have gotten in person, you still receive that quality, advisement from your mentor, even if it's over a Zoom call or through emails, whatever it may be. You still get that attention that is necessary to succeed in the program, and they do generally want you to succeed.
Cool. Thank you so much, Kayla. You have some good news, right? Recently, some good transfer news.
Yes.
Right? You want to share that with us?
I recently got accepted into Temple University for their civil engineering program.
That's amazing. I know you're waiting for other news too, but we're so happy for you.
Yeah.
Well done. Bravo.
Thank you.
Great. So before we move to Q&A, I just want to let two people who have been behind the scenes the whole time introduce themselves quickly. Carol, our wonderful assistant coordinator of the honors program. Would you mind just saying hi real quick?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Carol Coiro, the assistant coordinator of the program, also known as Honors Mom. When we are in the office and we're all together, we're real community, a real family. We're trying the best we can to stay connected virtually, but looking forward to meeting everybody, and hopefully you consider the program.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Carol. Carol is actually the only full-time member, a full-time employee of the honors program. All of us wear some other hats as well. So we're very grateful to have Carol, who keeps us all very well organized, and we appreciate you. Teresa, would you mind introducing yourself? Teresa is our part-time support staff, and she does so much good work for us. Want to say hi real quick?
Hi, yes, I'm Teresa Mano. I am the office, I guess you could call me the crazy aunt. If Carol's going to be the mom, I'll be the aunt. I also work in the science department. I teach anatomy and physiology. So like Dr. Lynch mentioned, several of us we wear different hats. I'm one of those people. But I enjoy working with honors students very much. And I'm always available if you have any questions or concerns. I can try to point you in the right direction if you need help. Welcome.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So everyone who spoke, just really appreciate you. Right now, we're going to move to our Q&A session. And so I'm going to actually put a survey in the chat. This is a 3 required question survey. It's not a big deal. What I'm going to ask you to do, though, is fill it out so that we have your email address so that we can follow up with you with a link to the recording, and also to answer any questions that you have. And if you fill out this survey, the admissions office at RCC will contact you with a fee waiver, meaning an application fee waiver, so you'll be able to apply to RCC for free. So if you wouldn't mind just completing that Google form, it's going to ask you for your name and email address. That's really all it's asking. And we'd really appreciate it. We will not spam you. We will only just send you the link to the recording and any answers to any questions that you have. So we also have a couple of opportunities, and I'm going to share my screen so that you can see some dates when there is the availability, the opportunity for you to come and have like a Q&A session. And again, this will be in the slides that we send out. We'll send out the slides. We'll send out the recording. So you'll have this information at your fingertips. But on Monday, the 15th, is coming Monday at 4 o'clock, Carol is running a Q&A session. And on Thursday, the 25th, also at 4 p.m. So if you're interested, you want to chat a little bit more about honors, we'd love to see you at that point. And so, we also are happy to hear from you via email. We're also happy to have you follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Here are a bunch of email addresses for you, how to contact all of us. And you've also heard from Kayla, who's always ready to help. So we would now love to hear from you. What are your questions? What is still on your mind? Is there anybody who would like to, and I'll stop sharing now, who would like to unmute and ask a question, or ask a question in the chat?
Dr.
Yes,
Lynch,
I have a question.
There's a problem with the survey.
Okay, I'm already getting a couple responses, so.
A few people are indicating you need permission.
Okay, let me work on that, and I apologize. I will. Oh, I see. There was a button checked that this now you should be okay. I'll reshare the link, and I appreciate that. It looks like it was restricted to RCC folks at first, but now we can go ahead. Just give me 1 second. Let me know if that works for everybody now. I apologize for that. And I think someone else unmuted and wanted to ask a question.
Yes, I have a question. Do you often have nursing students as the honor students? I'm sorry for my background noise.
No, not to worry about that. So thanks so much for that question, and that's a great question. We have had some RCC students who are honor students and nursing students, but it's very rare. We actually have one right now who's dual degreeing, meaning she is pursuing the AS in nursing degree, and she's simultaneously pursuing the math and science honors track. And that's a challenge. That's a choice that she decided to make. She wanted to do both. The nursing program is very it has a very prescriptive, not in a bad way, right? But you don't have any electives in that program. And so to be able to do the honors program and the nursing program, you need to pursue 2 degrees at once. We have also had students who wanted to be nurses who decided that they were going to do the math and science honors track in the honors program, and they were going to take the prerequisites they need to get into BSN programs when they transfer. So for example, Jonathan Juka, a wonderful student from a few years ago, he worked very carefully with his mentor to make sure he was fulfilling NYU's BSN requirements. And then he was able to transfer into the Rory Myers College of Nursing at NYU and get his BSN. Schools like NYU, like UVA, like a few other of those top BSN programs, they actually won't accept other schools' nursing or NUR prefix classes. So if you're really wanting to go to a top tier BSN program and get your BSN there, it would be better for you to actually do the math and science honors track. But you can also be a nursing student and an honor student simultaneously. It's just pretty rare. If anything I said was confusing, I'm happy to elaborate. Yeah, does that help?
No, that was super clear. Thank you so much. And what does it look like to apply to the honors program as a transfer student? It's weird because I'm a transfer student, but it would still be a freshman if I go into the nursing program, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, what would happen is, and it's a great question. You apply to RCC and you'll indicate that you're a transfer student there. You'll apply to the honors program the way that anybody else would. So your process isn't really any different. We're still going to need, if you're a little bit closer to a current student than to a high school student, but we are going to need a letter of recommendation, your current college transcript, materials like that. If you'd like to share your high school materials with us, we can also take a look at those if you feel that those are strong and will help you. And then we'll look at your credits. And once RCC evaluates your credits, we'll see how they fit into the degrees that you've chosen. And then we'll work with you and mentor you just like we would anybody else. So we would love to have your application as a transfer student.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, great questions. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Yeah. So to this question, I actually want to add a little bit because I've seen a few other questions in the chat. Can I study performing arts and be an honor student? May I study criminal justice and be an honor student? And the answer is very similar to the one I just gave. There are many students in the honors program. There's not a lot, but there are more than a handful that are pursuing 2 tracks at once, 2 degrees at once. And we have a fair number of students who are doing a performing arts degree and a humanities and social science honors track. And they actually come out of RCC with 2 degrees. It can take a little bit longer. Most of those students stay for an extra semester or year, but it's a way to combine the honors program and its rigor with the wonderful opportunities in our performing arts program. I mean, obviously COVID has had an impact there, but they do such great productions and they have so many opportunities, music and theater and musical theater and all kinds of different productions. So we have students do that. We have had students who are interested in other tracks at the college, like criminal justice or other tracks like that, where they want to pursue that track and say one of the honors tracks. And the humanities and social science one is a good fit for a criminal justice degree. And the other option is that you're an honors student, but you just are pursuing the criminal arts, the criminal justice degree. And if that's true, you may find it difficult to achieve honors designation, but we would still help you take honors classes that you could within that degree. So we're not interested in closing doors in this program. Whatever your goal is, we want to work with you. And we'll explain all the different options and we'll help mentor you along the way. Okay. I saw there's a question in the chat about community colleges having honors programs, and then we'll get to the hand that was just raised. Thank you so much. Yes, some other community colleges do. Orange has an honors program. Westchester has an honors program. Fortunately, thanks to the investment of our college administration, RCC is the largest community college honors program in the SUNY system. We have approximately 250 students, give or take, across both years. We have that strong mentoring component. So there are other honors programs out there, and they are run by wonderful people. I know the director at Westchester and the director at Orange, and a few other directors, Ulster, a few others outside the radius where we currently are. And we talk to each other, we work together, we share resources in some ways. So we're all on the same team, and it's up to you to decide which program is the best fit for you. So I saw a hand, I see Leah's hand, and I also saw a hand previously. So Leah, go ahead, and whoever else had a question, I welcome you to raise your hand again. Go ahead, Leah.
Hi, so I also have a question regarding the nursing program. So I don't know if it's unfortunate or not fortunate for me at this moment, because I did want to join the honors program. However, I already took all the necessary prerequisites, co-requisites for the honors program. And I'm
the nursing program, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, the nursing program. I'm currently enrolled, and my plan was ideally to transfer into NYU's RN to BSN program. And I know that this would have helped my application that much more. So I'm currently conflicted, and I'm not sure what path to take at this point, because I do want to make it possible, but.
Right. Well, I think it would be good if we have a conversation, and so I would invite you to send me an email. I'm going to put my email in the chat. We can arrange to really talk about what your goals are. I know you mentioned the RN to BSN program. That's if you already have that RN, status. And so that's a different thing from transferring into the College of Nursing, as a transfer student, so there's slightly different things, and I'm happy to help you figure out the answers. And to direct you to the people at NYU that might be able to help you as well. So I think we'll have to sort of examine your degree and what you've done so far, and how maybe honors could help, or if not, then we'll just help you take the next step. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm going to put my email in the chat, and happy to hear from anybody who wants to reach out. And then there was another hand raised. Please go ahead. Please feel free to unmute.
Hello. I have a few questions, so please bear with me. I'm currently at RCC in my first semester. I guess I would call myself an older student because I am 25 and I already have a career. I'm a flight attendant with United Airlines. So RCC has made it possible for me to pursue things while working full time. So I am grateful, and I would like to continue doing that for the rest of my time at school. But I would still like to challenge myself in the honors program. So I was wondering you mentioned the different honors tracks. Would that be considered the major? Because I'm currently a public health major. Would an honors track replace that?
Correct. It could. The public health major is kind of distributed across multiple institutions. Actually, it's kind of a special thing. I would suggest, and again, we can always have a conversation. You might find the math and science honors track to be very useful for you. We've had many students actually who have gone through that track who have ended up in a public health field. And something else to consider is that the honors program does a really good job of preparing you for high caliber four-year schools. And there are a lot of really interesting programs for so-called non-traditional students. And you're fitting into that particular category. I'm not a big fan of that name, but for example, Smith College has a program called the Ada Comstock Scholars Program that's only available to students who are female, who are 24 and older. Columbia University has a whole part of Columbia called the School of General Studies that is only available to students who have taken at least a year off of school. So, we love having students who can access some of those other opportunities that are so special, and we're happy to help. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. That actually answers all of the questions, and I'll be reaching out to you via email. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks very much. And I see there's some great questions in the chat. Happy to have others raise their hand as well, or unmute. So, so Karen, it looks like you're considering the honors program as an early admit. Is it reasonable to transfer out after 1 year, or is there significant advantage to completing the associate degree? So, great question. A couple of things. So first of all, as an early admit student, you're still a senior in high school, and you cannot be an actual transfer student until you finish high school. So when you're an early admit, you apply in, October through December, basically. Your deadline is usually in early January as a first year student at those 4-year schools. So you wouldn't technically be transferring. You're actually applying as a freshman, as a first year student. And I want to make sure you know that, because that happens pretty quickly during your time at RCC. You have to apply pretty quickly. We're still happy to help you. We're happy to help with recommendations if those are appropriate, although we might not know you very well, given that you'd only be with us for a few months. We're certainly happy to help you with college materials like essays and things like that. I do a lot of work with students on their essays. So we can give you some support as you're applying. What you can do is, I would suggest that you apply to some schools right away. And then depending on where you get in and how your financial aid package is, if that's important to you, then make a decision. Do I stay at RCC for another year, or do I go and take advantage of one of these 4-year schools that have accepted me? We're going to be happy for you either way. If you want to get the full benefit of the honors program, you definitely want to stay for 2 years. What happens is that in the first year, students settle in. In the second year, they just shine. It's amazing. They come back and they're like, I know what this is all about. I'm going to get really deeply involved. Not to say that you can't in your first year, many do, but it really does make a difference to have that experience. And so we think that students get the most out of the program if they stay, but you're welcome to be with us for as long as you like, and we're going to help you either way. Okay. And of course, if any of my mentor colleagues or any of the others, the alums or students who are here would like to speak to that, please feel free to chime in anytime. Okay. So Michelle's asking, oh, please, Rachel, go ahead. And then we'll get to Michelle's question.
Hi, my name is Rachel Paredes. So I came here in 2017 to 2018, and I had a bit of a falling out, especially my last 2 classes. I didn't withdraw when I was supposed to, and instead of, withdrawing, I ended up not passing those 2 classes. I also was majoring in biology, which it turns out I'm not great at chemistry. And I came back in 2020, the summer of 2020, and I've been getting straight A's ever since, which I'm very grateful for all of my professors. They've worked so hard with me. Unfortunately, the grades in my past have impacted my GPA pretty harshly. So I haven't gotten up to the point where, because I was at a 3.6 at one point, but because of those grades, I went to a 3.1, even getting straight A's for the past 3 semesters. So I was just wondering, is there any possibility you guys would consider, like, if you see that change, like the improvement, would you still consider accepting someone like me?
Yeah, I think we should definitely have a conversation about it. I really appreciate your question and that you're willing to share that information. And we know things get complicated. So I think, especially, given what you described of, having some time here, decide it didn't go so well, taking a little break, coming back, let's definitely have a conversation. I encourage you to, reach out to us. You can reach out to me. You can also always reach any member of our team at honors@sunyrockland.edu. I'm typing that email in the chat. And, we'd also want to help you strategize about those courses that didn't go well, because if you have your sights set on a really competitive institution, we're going to want to figure out how do we work on getting those grades, on changing those grades so that you can have a really competitive cumulative GPA. So please do reach out to us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Wonderful. A wonderful question in the chat about what somebody, an applicant, prospective applicant who's walking the line GPA wise, but volunteers, is about to earn an Eagle Scout award. Wonderful. If you are borderline there, in any of those categories, and especially the GPA, we still encourage you to apply. Absolutely. I mean, congratulations on getting, almost having your Eagle Scout. That's such a huge accomplishment. And we would love to have your application. And to answer the second part of that question, we do not have a limitation in terms of number of students in the program. What could happen and what will happen is that classes will fill up as the new semester starts to get closer. So we've also had some questions about deadline. We don't have a formal deadline. Really, it's the first day of the new semester. So the first day, September 1 of fall 2020. But the earlier you apply and the earlier we accept you and help you choose your classes, and those will become available in mid-April. So the earlier you apply, the more classes you'll have to choose from. And the later you apply, unfortunately, you're just not going to have that many classes to choose from. So that's what I would say about deadlines. We also don't have any kind of out-of-state limitations. You're welcome to apply. We've had students come to us from international locations such as Japan, Pakistan. We've had students come to us from California. Here in the current environment where we're remote, students are all over the place. You never know where they are, and that's kind of wonderful. And we want to keep that up, actually. So there aren't really a lot of closed doors here. It's a privilege to work at an open admissions institution, to be able, yes, we have these requirements, but we want you to join us. And so anybody else want to say anything about that, fellow mentors? It's just best, the earlier you apply, the more choice you'll have, the better it will go. Okay. Let's see, what other questions do you all have? Anything else? Great, and if you were able to fill out that survey, I really appreciate it. It looks like people were able to get in. We got 25 responses. Don't forget, we'll send you I'll put the link in the chat one more time. We will send you an admissions fee waiver. We will also send you a recording of this presentation. We'll send you the slides. That it would be great to hear from you. Please feel free to reach out. Any last minute questions for anybody, any mentor, any alum, any student who's still with us? Okay, well, what I hope you learned tonight is that, this program is beloved by the people who work in it and the people who attended it and the people who are currently in it. And we only want to do what we can to help our students meet our goals. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, for taking the time out of your busy day. Thank you, mentors. Thank you, alumni. Thank you, current students, for speaking with us tonight. Please stay safe, everyone, and have a great rest of your evening. Take care.